it's very, very easy to slip into a desire to be seen and to be known. And as you personally, as the artist, wanting to be seen and known. And so my encouragement, I guess, would just be whatever you're doing, build a servant mindset and build a habit of service.
Hey everyone, welcome back to this week's episode of the ROYL Life Podcast. And this week we are joined in the virtual studio by a very special guest. We are joined by Jennifer Himes. How you doing, Jennifer?
Hello, I'm doing great.
Awesome. Well, we're glad to have you here this week, and I'm excited to dive into what you have to talk about today. I think we talked more off camera than we did now, so
Probably.
I'm excited to see how this is going to go. This is going to be awesome. So,
yeah, sure.
For our listeners, go ahead, introduce yourself, tell us about yourself and your testimony, how you came to know the Lord.
Oh, sure. Well, my name is Jennifer Himes. I am a multi-skilled artist. I do all kinds of different things. I studied first to be an artist, and then later sort of pivoted to be a professional puppeteer. And now, to pay the bills, I'm back to being an artist to pay the bills. And I work at Volcano Bay. I'm a lead scenic artist at Universal's Volcano Bay. And it's great. I love it there. Great people and great work to do. And as far as my testimony, it actually sort of has to do with what I do now as far as like being an artist and everything. Excuse me, I'm going to put my cat away. Go ahead. Go ahead. There you go. So I was about 7 years old, and I don't know why I feel the need to put in these details, but my family had just gotten back from vacation, and it was the last day of VBS at a church that we used to go to. And so it was a familiar place and everything, but we just hadn't been there in a while. And so I went to the very last day of Vacation Bible School, and there we were in the main auditorium, and there was a speaker, and I remember there being a puppet. I don't know what happened with that, but the speaker up there gave the gospel. I had heard it thousands of times, I'm sure, but for some reason at that moment it started to click. And the idea was presented that, hey, this is your eternal soul that we're talking about here. It's not a game. This is very serious. And if you haven't made a decision, you should come down. And it like struck me as my 7-year-old little self. I was like, wait, I don't think I have ever done that. And this is important. And so I got up and I went down to the front, and they took us all, there was a whole group of us, took us into the fellowship hall area, and we sat at these little round tables. And so we had gone to that church in the past, and the lady at the table was a person that I recognized, but my heart sank a little bit because this lady, she must have had either a stroke or a very thick accent, because I could never understand a word she said. So it was a little bit comical, but like walking up to this table, I was like, my little 7-year-old self going, oh man, I'm supposed to be making this big decision. And I can't understand a word this lady says. And so we're sitting at this table, and I'm like focused, right? Because I'm like, I gotta try to get what she's saying. She had a little piece of paper, like a sermon notes insert from a bulletin.
Yeah.
And she had this piece of paper, and she drew a picture on it. And from listening very carefully and her picture, I understood the gospel. And she drew a picture of two cliffs. One was man's cliff, one was God's cliff. And all the little stick figures were trying to get over to God's cliff and heaven. But in between the two was hell. And all of these little stick figures were trying their little best to get over to heaven on God's cliff, but they kept falling. And they were trying to do good things. They were trying to, live their best life. They were, all these different things. And they were trying to do good works and all sorts of things to try to get across, but it wasn't working. And then she drew a picture of a cross in between the two. And she said that when Jesus died, shed his blood, was buried, and rose again, he bridged the gap. And now all these little stick figures could walk across by faith. And it was through that image that I understood the gospel. And I prayed and received Christ as my Savior. And and after that, I did my best. I read my Bible, I tried to really learn. I feel like something was really awakened in me at that point, because I don't even have a whole lot of memories before that day. Like my memories were very muddled until I was 7, and all of a sudden my memories became much more clear. And when I was 10 years old, we were visiting another church. Our church that we went to was great, by the way. It was really great. But sometimes you got to go, on a mountaintop to see what God has for you. So we went off and went to this other church to visit, and there was a chalk talk artist. Have you ever seen? Yeah. So this man, I believe it was Matthew Bowman who was drawing that day. He drew a picture and preached a sermon at the same time. And I don't fully remember what it was. I feel like it had something to do with eagle's wings. It was a lovely picture, and I remember being enthralled by it because I was sitting and fully focused. My eyes were big, and my dad saw how invested I was, and he sort of leaned over a little bit and he said, "Would you like to do that?" And I went, "Yes." I was turned and looked at him. Yes. And I went right back to being focused. And that's, I think, through my parents and through that moment of realization of I can do visual art and serve the Lord through that. And it was that was a very eye-opening moment for me. And that's when I believe that the Lord called me to be an artist. And it's all been, a roller coaster ride since then.
Some say the ride of your life.
You might say.
That is so awesome, and just neat how the Lord brought you to Him through art. And just in our culture, art is seen as something that's not really Christian, I guess. The world has manipulated it, but if
Yes.
you look at Answers and Justice, and we'll talk about it, but
Oh
Spark
yeah.
Conference, you see all these believers come together at different types of art, theater,
Oh yeah.
puppetry, movies, animation, theme parks, everything in between.
Yeah.
God's given us these things. What the world seems as foolish, or what may seem foolish, but the Bible talks about, God uses it to confound the wise and brings people to the saving knowledge of Him, like He did with you.
Absolutely.
It took a little, it took a puppet, it took a
Hmm.
drawing, it took a chalk artist to for
Yeah.
God to bring you first to Him in saving knowledge, and then to show you what His plan was for your life.
Hmm.
That is so cool.
And it's so cool to me, like, God knows us individually,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, I mean, He made each person to be unique, and He knows how to speak to each person
Yeah.
in their own space. And, you know, there was no other way
Yeah.
that I would have understood, I don't think. And I remember hearing, like, now, uh, older, I remember hearing the gospel and having the chance
Mm-hmm.
and not fully understanding. Like, I was, 5, 6 years old and hearing the gospel very specifically and not understanding it at the time. But for some reason,
Mm-hmm.
that one specific instance, it clicked. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
And from the beginning of time, just God has used art for His glory. And
Hmm.
just if you were to look in the sky, God's the master artist,
Oh,
and
yeah.
just His beauty. The Bible talks about the heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament showeth His
Absolutely.
handiwork. It's God's the
Yeah.
master artist, and we can use art for good, and that's
Hmm.
what you're able to do. And let's go ahead and talk about that.
Okay.
You've got your portfolio is what we're going to dub it
Hmm.
as. Your portfolio has an
Yeah.
interesting name. Go ahead and tell us the name of that
it's
and what
it's
you've been able to do.
yeah, it's Purlicue magic, and Purlicue is an archaic term for the space between your thumb and your first finger, your pointer finger, or index finger, I guess. I also play music, so this is your index finger is your first finger. Um, uh, and so much of what I do has to do with working with my hands. And so, you know, holding a pencil is that, thumb and index finger area, and working with Puppet is also that way with lip sync. So, yeah, it was kind of like that area is where the magic happens.
Yeah.
So, it's the Purlicue magic. And it's really just my portfolio website, and I kind of made it a hub for all the different things that I do. um, Children's book illustration, and fine art, and mural painting, and puppetry, and yeah. I've got a little graphic design in there and all kinds of stuff. So yeah.
Cool. And yeah, we'll have you plug it at the end again,
Sure.
but of your whole portfolio, what would you say has been your biggest achievement or your favorite project you've been able to work on?
You're asking me to choose my favorite child? Um, no, my projects are not children. Let's see. Oh goodness. Um, I mean, any of the projects that I've been able to either make or perform puppets
Hmm.
have always been the most fulfilling, I think. Um, uh, I've always, of course, enjoyed the work of Jim Henson. I've always,
Mhm.
when I was younger, when I was a teenager, I was like, this man was a genius.
Mhm. Yeah.
He made an empire on absolute nonsense.
Mhm.
That's a genius move.
Oh yeah.
And so I've always enjoyed the Muppets. I've always enjoyed Sesame Street, and I've always enjoyed the other work that Jim Henson has done. And so being able to become a professional puppeteer was like kind of a leap of faith as well. I had to, quit my job and move in with my parents and do all of that stuff. And yeah, any of the work that I've done with puppetry has always been really fun. I got to follow one project called Pete and Penelope. I followed it from the time it had sort of started with the character design and everything, and I was following it. And then one day they said they needed puppeteers. And I was like, I can do this now. I was so excited. And so I immediately sent an audition, and I was like, this is so cool. And it was so cool to be part of something that when I was not a puppeteer, not a professional puppeteer, I had seen it, and I was like, man, that looks like a cool project. Wouldn't it be so cool to be part of that project? But they already have artists already. and then a year or two later, I was working as a puppeteer at Universal, and they purposefully give you space and time so that you can go and do other projects, which is wonderful of the company to do that. I auditioned, and I got a role for one of the puppets, and I was able to perform other puppets as well. And it was just so fun. And I got to be Lucy the Hedgehog.
Okay.
And so I was her voice and her puppeteer, and we recorded the voices ahead of time and lip synced to the recording on the set. So I was able to perform other puppets as well during the process. But yeah, it was very fun.
Cool. And fun fact for all of our listeners, and this is what made me want to get Jennifer on here so much, is I grew up with a passion for puppets as well. And I went through a puppet class, puppet camp when I was younger, and this is something I've been able to use for the Lord in different ministries at church and things like that. So hearing a fellow puppeteer using her gifts and talents for the Lord is pretty neat. And let's talk about this, Jennifer. You got a really cool opportunity recently.
And I just remembered that. I was like, why didn't I say that? Oh my goodness.
Go ahead and talk about this.
Yes. So I have friends who work at Answers in Genesis Creation Museum, and one of them, her name is also Jen. She works in the design department. She's gonna be mad at me because I don't remember what her position is, but she's up there. She's like really important designer lady. She's gonna hate me. Anyway, some producers came to her and asked about character design and like puppet stuff, and she was like, do you want an actual puppet builder? And they said, you know one? And she was like, yes. And so she put me in contact with them, and through design tests, they had, I guess, some other people in mind as well, and I gave them some possible design, character design. Man, I can't think of the word.
Rendering.
Yes, rendering is a good word. And some sketches and whatnot, and they chose mine. So I got to make 2 identical puppets, so 2 of the same character, for a new show that Answers in Genesis is doing. It's the gracious SciY. Is that what it's called?
I don't remember.
They never like said this is the show. But the character's name is Tycho, and he's a little boy character, and it's a show for, I believe, upper elementary. So it's not a little kids show. It's not a little baby show. It's a upper elementary show, and it's gonna be fun. I've read a couple of the scripts. It's gonna be a really good show. It's gonna be it's gonna have like a fun, quirky science side, and then there's also like this super imaginative, almost Secret Life of Walter Mitty kind of thing, where he kind of goes into a little imaginative land and then comes back into reality, and then we'll sort of go off into a little imagination here. Yeah, it's very fun.
Yeah, everybody stay tuned to Answers TV for that.
Yes.
And I'm sure that's going to be rolling out within a year or two, maybe?
I think they want to have a quick turnaround with this, I think.
Wow.
So I think it might be next year,
Wow.
like early next year or in the fall, one of the two. I think they want to film. I think they said they want to film in the fall, and it'll be available in the spring. I am not a spokesperson for this, so take what I say about that with a grain of salt. And, yeah.
She's just designer extraordinaire.
I just made the puppet, guys. Okay, so if I said something wrong, that's my disclaimer. I'm just a puppet builder.
Just follow Answers in Genesis.
Yes.
And you'll see it when you see it. That's so awesome that you got this opportunity to do that for the Lord and Answers in Genesis of all people.
I know, and I've wanted to work with them for years and years, and so I was so honored to be included in it. I felt like some things had come full circle at that point, and it was very, very great. I loved it.
Yeah, and the way that I found out about this, other than her Instagram story, was at the Spark at the Art Conference, which we both attended this past April, and it was such a blessing.
Oh my goodness.
And
it was so good.
Yeah, so I'm going to ask you this. What were some highlights and some memorable favorite moments that you had at this conference?
Goodness. It was such a whirlwind. I really enjoyed how personable everything was. It felt like you could really like just walk up and talk to any of the speakers and like just chat with them, you know, and the speakers were amazing. So it was really great to have this sort of like small. It was small this year. We were saying next year it's probably not going to be that small, but like this year it just felt like a nice little, small group of people, and like you were able to just kind of walk up and talk to anybody. It was great. Let's see, highlights. Man.
Let's say this. What was...
It's so hard to pick something.
There's so much.
And so much happened in 2 days.
Yes.
That it was like I said, just a whirlwind of activity. So I mean the speakers were just great, and I really liked Theron Skis, and apparently he's got a book. I'm going to buy it. I really enjoyed his talk, and then one of the art directors at the museum is Doug Henderson, We both went to his
Yeah.
breakout session. It was really, really great, like learning how God led him through his life, and just amazing circumstances, like and hearing all these stories about how people in themed entertainment either came to the Lord and began uh, using their work in service to the Lord, or deciding from an early stage that they wanted to be in entertainment, and they were Christians and trying to figure out how that worked. And um, all of that was just it was really great to see that in other people, and recognize, and like I said it off camera, but like it was really great to feel seen working in entertainment of any kind, whether it's theme park entertainment or just entertainment in general. It's a very dark place to work.
Yeah.
And anytime you can find other people who share faith with you is like it's like finding family.
Yeah.
And suddenly that space with them is more safe, and you feel you know um, you feel the presence of the Holy Spirit or whatever when you're with them. And yeah and so it's really great to be in a space with a lot of other people who understand that aspect, and who it's just, yeah, it's great to be seen in that light. So
Absolutely. I agree 100%. Yes, this year seemed more close and intimate with like the
yes,
speakers, but
it's not gonna be next year.
which I'll ask you this. What's your bit of encouragement or nudge for people who are either on the line of going next year, or who are considering it, or didn't even know about it? What would be your, I guess, motivational to them?
I mean, I feel like it's just that, like, if you feel like you are alone where you're at, no matter if you're working retail, or if you are a face character, or an animated character they call them, or whatever, like um, or whatever you do in themed entertainment, if you work there and you have a passion for it, or if really believe that what where God has put you at this moment is a place where you can serve, then yeah, you should take the time to go and meet these people and be inspired
Mm.
by the work that other people are doing and how they are ministering, and meeting people who are in the same boat as you.
Yeah.
and seeing what other theaters or other theme parks, or other vendors, even animatronic worker people are doing, is really inspiring. And these were people who are in the very best of their field, especially you'll have to remind me who the animatronic
Garner Holt.
Garner Holt. Yes, Garner Holt was there, and it was very inspiring to see how the Lord has used him, and how, I mean, he makes animatronics. His company makes animatronics for every single theme park, like literally every single one.
Yeah.
And so he is at the very top of his field, and he uses his influence as much as he possibly can to lead people to the Lord and to better his community. And that's super inspiring. And there were many other speakers like that there. So yeah, if you need a little pick me up, go to Spark at the Ark.
Absolutely, yeah, I agree.
And of course, the Ark and the museum, you'll be able to go to that and see all of that and buy yourself a drink cup and get drinks for the rest of the time you're there.
Absolutely. And the thing is, it's worth the price of this event. It's like you get 3 days, you get to go to both attractions, and then the third day you get to go to whichever one or both on the same day if you want to. And next year's lineup of keynote speakers are amazing. They got Chris Hershen of Hershen Family Entertainment. They got Steve Green of Museum of the Bible, Hobby Lobby, and then Ken Ham's back, which you can't go wrong with Ken Ham. So our sales pitch to you all is go to Spark at the Ark next year. It is April 20. It's in March next year, I think. It's earlier next year, I think.
I think it is. I don't remember. Go look it up.
Put the date right here.
Yeah, sure.
So the date's right here. Go to arkencounter.com/spark. Get your tickets today. Yeah. You will not regret it. This is two testimonials of just how it's impacted us as people in the industry and fans of the industry. You will not regret it.
If you have, this is Answers in Genesis, right? Yeah. So if you have questions about like foundations of your faith, creation, the Bible versus science, even though the Bible is a science book. So, and how did Noah get all those animals on the ark? Things like that. Like, man, they have the science that they've put into this and the amount of love and care that the artists have put into it. They work as a unit, and it's so beautiful. The museum is beautiful. The Ark is beautiful. And it's only going to get bigger and better. And I'm sure next year they're going to have stuff added and making it more amazing. So yeah, they got big plans for that place.
Yeah, they've got some really cool plans. And
that's something else you get too. You get to hear about future plans for secret stuff.
Yeah. So by the time this episode comes out, Alan would have been on the podcast, so you all get a taste of what we got a taste of.
Yeah.
So you get to know about the coasters and rides and stuff. So the thing is, we heard it first. We heard it first at Spark at the Ark, so you got to be there.
Oh yeah.
But anyways, that's our sales pitch for this episode. But,
be inspired.
Yes. Like, ignite that spark for the kingdom.
Yeah.
But something you mentioned that you're currently at where the Lord has you working is Universal Orlando Resort.
Yes.
And that is so cool. It's one of my favorite parks. And of course, Epic Universe,
Oh, goodness.
But tell us what you get to do at Universal and some of the things you've done recently.
Yeah. So right now I'm at Volcano Bay, which is the themed water park. Opened in 2017, I believe. And I'm a scenic artist, and I lead a small team of 4 other scenic artists. And we work through the night. So we are the little elves that come and fix things and then go away. You never knew we were here. So not to spoil the magic or anything, but a scenic artist is a person who can do faux finishes, fake finishes on things like metal or wood to make them look like not metal or wood. So our job is mostly for Volcano Bay to make metal poles look like bamboo. Um, believe it or not, those giant structures are not all made of bamboo. I'm
What?
sorry. I'm
What?
sorry. It's fake. It's all fake. And those giant beams that are holding things up are not actually giant beams of wood. They're just painted to
What?
look like it. I'm sorry. I'm
Oh
sorry.
man.
But my team does their best to make it all look beautiful every single night. And it's a water park in Florida that barely ever shuts down. So, we might might shut down for hurricanes if we feel like it. If Waffle House is closed, then, okay, Universal has to shut down too, I guess. So, metal, wood, all those things are corroded by even rock. Even rock, concrete gets calcium deposits, rust in the for the metal, and the wood rots, and all that stuff has to be maintained. And so my team is part of that maintenance crew. So they grind rust off of metal and apply rust mitigation to hopefully keep that at bay for a little bit longer. And they reapply paint and make it all look beautiful again. And they're very talented artists. They care very deeply about their work, and they really want things to be perfect all the time. So I appreciate how hard they work, and I appreciate how very talented they are. I think they're more talented than I am, honestly. Their skills are better than mine, which is great. And they're great. I can just kind of send them out, go paint this over there, and they're like, okay, they go do it. So, yeah. Other than that, let's see. What do I do? What else do I do at Universal? I made stuff. Oh, yes. Yes, I was a puppeteer at Universal Studios for about 6 or 7 years. That was back in, I started working there in 2016. I worked in the Superstar Parade.
Oh, cool.
In the Secret Life of Pets unit.
Nice.
The puppets were attached to the float, so we were inside the float working the puppets from the inside. And they were partially animatronic, Animax animatronics, and we would sort of hit some touch again, ruining the magic. I'm so sorry.
What? They weren't the real pets?
No, I'm sorry. We would hit some touch screens on the inside, and the faces would animate. And then when those lines were not running, we had buttons for opening the mouth and closing the eyes and that kind of thing. That was a super fun thing because we had cameras on the outside. Excuse me, so we could see the kids and the families that would come up to meet the pets, and so we could angle the puppet to look right at them, and we would practice that eye line all the time. We would have somebody outside, and then okay, am I looking at you? How's my eye line? And so we would practice that all the time, but that way when we looked at the little kids, they would look like we were looking right at them. And that was super fun. I really enjoyed that work. But then Superstar Parade was there for 10 years.
Wow.
And they said, that's long enough. And so Universal closed that venue. And I didn't really have any other skills in the company. I didn't have anything else that I thought I could do at the time. And there were no other job openings that I saw that I was, qualified for. So I went back to painting stuff. And I painted murals in rental homes for about a year. maybe like a year and a half or so. And we did like themed houses. So those like themed Airbnbs, we did a couple of those. And then I started working for a company called Blue Hippo. I worked for them for about a year. And Blue Hippo makes large scale fiberglass pieces for the theme parks. And they got quite a few contracts from Universal for Epic. Ooh. So I was able to make some very large scale figures for Epic in Ministry of Magic, and one thing in Isle of Berk. And that was the first thing that I was able to paint. I was their scenic artist there for about a year, but I also had to learn how to use fiberglass and silicone and all the sculpting materials as well. I have some sculpting experience, but not at that level. So that was like a lesson in, if you're willing to learn, you can kind of get any job you want. If people are willing to teach you. And so I came in as an artist, and the crusty old man was like, well, all these artists, they don't want to learn how to do fiberglass. He looks right, like, kind of quizzically at me. He was like, you'll have to learn how to do fiberglass. And he looks at me like, huh? And I was like, I've never done it before, so I don't know if I like it or not. So if you want to teach me, I'll learn it. It's fine. And he was like, oh, okay. And I ended up getting the job. So yeah. So I enjoyed that work very much. It's very satisfying work, actually. Nasty. Fiberglass is just terrible stuff to work with. But basically you have a mold. I don't know. Do you know much about fiberglass?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay, so you can spray it onto a surface, and it sort of looks like wet grass or wet hay. And then they spray it into a mold, and then like 6 other guys come in and they roll it with rollers and get all the bubbles out and get it all nice and pretty. And then they'll step back and they'll spray it again. They'll swoop back in and roll it out. Yeah. And they make this noise of like, yee yee. And like, they all go away. It was a fascinating process.
Cool.
And I mention it just because, like, if somebody is an artist and they're scrounging for work or whatever, if you need a satisfying job and there's a fabrication shop that's willing to teach you, which a lot of them are, working with fiberglass is tough work, but man, it's very, very satisfying. And you can probably find it just about anywhere. So it's a good skill to have.
Cool.
But yeah, it was fun. I enjoyed that job a lot. But then, of course, Epic is open now. Yeah. So there was no more contracts. For now, there was no more contracts. And so I was let go of that job. And now I'm back at Universal. So.
Full circle moment.
Full circle around. Just waiting for that open position.
And speaking of the future of Epic Universe, I got a fun little question I've asked a few of our guests that are Universal fans, theme park fans, but if you were assigned to open the next portal for Epic Universe, goodness, which IP would you choose to go in that portal?
No, that's so hard. The first one that I thought of is because I saw this question earlier and I had to think about it a little bit. I don't know, this would probably annoy every single parent, but I think a Trolls portal would be
That'd be
intense
cool.
and bonkers and really fun.
Talk about a fiberglass project.
Oh yeah, that would be crazy. But like, and it would probably blind you as soon as you walked in. But
Yes.
like,
In a good way.
in a good way, yeah. It would be probably overload for everyone, but I think that would be super fun. There'd be a lot of ideas you could put in that. Yeah, that was the first one that I thought of, a Trolls portal. Like shrink down to troll size and like, yeah.
That could be Universal's take on Toy Story Land there.
Oh, possibly, yeah.
But man, that would be neat. And
yeah, I
will say Universal's got a lot of movies in their portfolio to work with.
Yeah.
So Trolls is one I didn't think about.
Kung Fu Panda portal would be very nice.
Imagine
that would be super
you got
chill,
Burke,
actually.
But imagine the next level with Kung Fu Panda.
Oh yeah, that would be actually kind of chill.
Yeah,
that would, because of all the Japan vibes.
Yeah,
that'd be nice. Very zen.
Yes. I will say it's nice that they have those two properties currently represented over in that new DreamWorks land.
Yes.
But imagine a full land with these characters.
That'd be so land cool. Of it would be a lot, but very fun.
Even a far, far away land with Shrek and friends. That'd be
fun. That would be so popular.
DreamWorks has got a really neat portfolio. If you want some kids lands, they've got some
really diverse one too. Mm-hmm. Like, each one of those is, intense, but very different in their vibes. Each one. So yeah.
The thing is, their movies are so scenically beautiful. Just look at the Isle of Burke.
Oh my goodness.
No wonder this movie has won numerous awards for the music and the casting and the scenic,
and all that. The message of the story even is so classic. The family and growing up and freedom and all those different ideas, and having peace with people around you and understanding people and all that stuff. It's a classic message, but also I feel like the Isle of Burke very much captured the feeling of the movies, in that it's an all ages kind of a thing. Yeah. I think most people would agree that it's, the movies are very much a family movie, in that adults enjoy it, but also kids enjoy it. It's funny, but also serious, and has some scary moments, but also has some really fun moments. Well, the Isle of Burke, I think, really picks up on that, in that it's a very family oriented section of the park, probably more than all the others. Probably even more than Nintendo World, I would say. But it's a section where you can there's in theme parks, a lot of times there's the adults and the older kids stuff, and there's the little kids stuff. And everything for the little kids is made for little kids. And everything for the adults and older kids is made for adults and older kids. But Epic has really sort of,
it's something for everybody.
Yes. In almost, I would say every section, every portal has, the majority of it is made for families to have fun at the same time.
Absolutely.
And I love that. I love that about it. And I think the Isle of Burke is the best example of that out of all of them.
It really is. And
yeah,
like you said, the movies are just so heartwarming and got so many messages through it.
Yeah.
Even when you think about it, there's some Christian like elements you can pull from this.
Just absolutely. Yeah. I definitely see redemption and, yeah, all of that. It's I love those movies. They're probably it's like How to Train Your Dragon trilogy and Lord of the Rings trilogy. Those are even in my mind. They're my favorites.
That's another one too I wish we could have here in the States, which it sounds like they're getting it in the UK.
Yes.
Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Imagine that portal.
That'd be so cool.
Because it'd be like boom, 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 like Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, Burke on one side. That'd be so cool.
Oh man.
Then you got Wicked, so cool. You got all these like Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
But the possibilities are endless. This is an epic park, so
you could very much see a Wizard of Oz portal. That would be super interesting.
That'd be really neat.
You could have like a black and white section.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it's like
go through the portal. It's color. That would be neat. The portal's black and white. You go through it and it's color.
Yeah.
But this is turning into imagineering armchair imagineering.
Hey, Universal.
Move us up the ladder here. We got ideas.
We're here for you.
Here's my card. But hey. Anyways,
it's fun to think about stuff like that, though.
It is, and that's just some of the fun things that you can have at things like Spark of the Ark, and just with fellow believers. It's like Christianity's not all seriousness. Yes, there's time to be serious and get into God's word, but God made us to have fun, and He's given us talents, gifts, and abilities, whether it's art, puppetry, animation, film, carpentry, whatever it is. God's given these things for His honor and glory, and we can have fun with it. So, and it's neat to see that you're able to do that and using your gifts and talents for the Lord. So, as we draw this time to a close, which it's been a lot of fun, what is some advice, some takeaways you want to give folks, whether it's someone who's pursuing art, or pursuing God's call for their life? What's some takeaways you want to leave with listeners this week?
Well, if you are, wanting to use artistic gifts and talents, skills for the Lord, first of all, know that God is the first thing that we learn about God is that He's creative. And Jordan Rayner talks about this in Called to Create, and it hit me so hard when I first read it. That's the very first thing that we learn about God, and that means that He sees it as important. It's important for us to know that He is the creator, and that He placed that creativity in every single human. So that's important to know. But also, if you are pursuing art in service to the Lord or as a career or anything, and I'm going to go ahead and preach to the choir.
Go for
it. Because this is something that I feel like I am either learning anew or relearning or being reminded of recently, is having a servant mindset. It is extremely easy to in our desire to serve the Lord with our gifts and to use our gifts to serve the Lord, whether in the church or in our community or whatever, it's very, very easy to slip into a desire to be seen and to be known. And as you personally, as the artist, wanting to be seen and known. And so my encouragement, I guess, would just be whatever you're doing, build a servant mindset and build a habit of service.
Mm-hmm.
And when you sense that desire becoming temptation, as I often do, really take a step back. And when you feel that twinge of jealousy, take a step back and try to reassess, like, why am I doing this, and what is my actual heart here. That's something that God has been showing me lately, is like, somebody got this opportunity when I didn't. And well, what about, like, I could have done that. And then having to stop and be like, okay, well, that's not the right attitude to have. Anyway, sorry, I got a text.
No worries.
But that's just something that I've been having to learn, especially through entering into a new job and and working in my church, trying to serve in my church and everything. It's important to remember to have a servant mindset. Absolutely.
Yeah. While you were saying that, I went to Amazon and put that book in my cart. Called to Create. That sounds really good. And
good book. Called to Create. Jordan Rainer.
Yeah. I'll have to check it out. But
yeah, it's great.
Good pieces of advice there, and just some thoughts to keep your mind in the right spot.
Yeah.
And to not let yourself get a chip on your shoulder, grow your head a little bit there.
Yeah.
But to remember that if it wasn't for the Lord, you would not have the talents, gifts, and abilities that you have. So,
yeah.
Good stuff. And then some last questions here. What is a verse you would claim as like your life verse, or one that means something special to you?
I always go to Psalm 18, verse 1. I will love you, O Lord, my strength. And I really love the whole of Psalm 18, but that verse in particular, there's some dark moments that verse hit me, and it was like, God is going to be my strength. Mm-hmm. And yes, I will love you, O Lord, my strength.
Amen. And then each Saturday we like to highlight a song that means something special to us and has a special place in our heart. What is one you would like to highlight this week?
Oh, gracious. It's so hard. No. Do I have time to look it up? Hold on.
Go for it.
Okay.
Go for it.
So I love probably everything from Andrew Peterson. He's a singer-songwriter, and he's written children's books, and just he's an amazing artist. But I come back to his song All Things Together. And it talks about, I believe it's from a chapter in Romans, actually. It's almost like a whole chapter in Romans. And it talks about how Jesus holds all things together. And I really, really like that song. And I come back to it sometimes when it's like, it's one of those songs that will just sort of pop into your mind when when you've got a bad day or something. And it's like, yeah, it's all things together.
Yeah. And I do love his music too, and I think my favorite of his it's very popular right now, is He Worthy. I love that song.
Yes. Yeah, I really like that one too. I like the call and response.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even though it's been done by numerous artists, his original version is so good.
Yeah. Oh, very good. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, the last question here is an easy one. How can folks get connected with you, and how can they check out your portfolio?
Only had a website. Oh my goodness. It's Purlicue Magic. And from there you can find me. I have social media links there. Purlicuemagic.com, and it's PURLICUE magic.com.
Awesome. And we'll leave a link to that in the show notes below. But thank you so much, Jennifer, for coming on. And it's been great talking with you, just talking about how our God is just an amazing creator and how he's gifted us these talents and abilities to glorify him and to show what he's done in our lives. So.
Thank you so much for having me. This was really, really fun. I enjoyed it.
Awesome.